He doesn't plead, doesn't shatter, and never forgives. He waltzes with his monsters and grins because he didn't just crawl out of the shadows. He claimed them. I waltz with my monsters and grin, not out of pride, not because I welcomed them, but because I survived them. Every scar they carved, I forged into steel. Every venomous word they whispered, I ignited into flame. I quit running, I quit pleading, I quit pretending I'm innocent in a world addicted to sin. I no longer bury the darkness inside me. I strive with it like an ally, like a scarred friend, because it knows me better than any soul alive. It never lied, it never promised heaven. It gave me only truth, naked, cruel, and merciless. There was a time I resisted it, foolish, a child boxing shadows on the wall, believing light could shield me. I believed love was enough. I believed purpose would hold me steady. I forgot that sometimes purpose scorches, and love is a blade hidden in silk. I worshipped it, chased it, let it blind me, but all it left was ruin, stripping me, abandoning me in the dark with nothing but my monsters for company. So I learned slowly, harshly. I learned the world does not spare the gentle, it consumes them. It mocks their mercy, it nails the faithful to crosses. I was not meant to plead. I was not shaped for ease. I was made to withstand. I was made to rise when all else burns. I was made to wear agony like royalty. I quit begging for sympathy. I quit waiting for salvation. No one's coming. I see that now. I look right. Nothing. I look left. Hollow. Only me in the storm of my lungs. Only me in the riot of my bones. And faintly I hear it, the devil's chuckle. Not cruel. Not mocking. Only entertained. Because he sees what I became. I once begged for peace. Now I summon war. I thirst for the clash. I embrace it because I know how to outlast it. Peace Neve, gave me more than agony. Pain molded me. It carved out the frailty, the tenderness, the illusions until only truth stood cold, razor, unyielding. Why dream of who I was before the fall, before the betrayals, before the mask slipped from the world's face? I was gentle, I was bright, I was breakable, but that self died screaming, and I do not grieve. I entombed them deep. I let the darkness seal the coffin, and from that tomb I rose, not reborn, remade. I no longer carry a human heart anymore. Not the kind that bends, not the kind that begs for mercy. Mine was torn from me, crushed, discarded. But instead of breaking, I shifted into something new, something colder, harder, sharper. I don't crave pity. I don't want compassion. I want the strain. I want the burden. I want the blaze that turns skin into iron. I know my shape. Now I've stared in the glass and faced what lurks in my gaze. It isn't innocence. It isn't grace. It's hunger. It's wrath. It's the will to rise when all else has collapsed. While they sleep, I grind. While they weep, I sharpen. While they beg for mercy, I become the tempest that ends it all. I am not like them. I never was. They fold. They fade. They vanish. I return again and again. Splintered bones, ruined hopes, blood-soaked fists. I rise because I am the exception. Because I am the reckoning. I've stood at the brink. I've stared at the edge of oblivion and felt its call. It lured me sweetly, promised comfort, promised rest, but I did not leap. I grinned. I stepped away because I knew I wasn't made to fall. I was forged to fly, and not with wings of feathers. No, with wings of fury, of defiance, of glaring into the void and laughing. I am the sharpest cut of my bloodline. Not the fairest, not the most adored, but the strongest, the last to endure. The evidence that God requires no flawless vessels, only relentless ones. I was handed grace, but I bled for fire. I was given a cause, but I carved my warpath. I will never repent for the monster I became, because I was not born in peace. I was born in fire. I didn't choose this destiny. It dragged me here. Every time I strayed, it pulled me back. Every time I softened, it broke me again until I learned I am not meant to flee the dark. I am meant to command it. I stare at my reflection, and I don't see guilt. I see strength. I see wounds that speak of survival. I see eyes that no longer chase approval. Only vengeance, only victory, only legacy. I don't ask if I've gone too far. I know I have, and I know that's where the true power waits. In the abyss, in the madness, in the pieces of me that were never meant to kneel. I quit waiting for a savior. I became the salvation I sought. Cold, merciless, unyielding. I know the laws of this arena. I've mastered each step. I see the snares before they're sprung. I see the lies before they're spoken. I've trained in silence, bled in silence, and now I thunder in storms. I don't need their spotlight. I am the lightning, and when the world meets me with terror, with doubt, with disdain, I grin because they only fear what they cannot bind. They only despise what they cannot control. He does not beg, he does not yield, and he never forgets. He moves with his shadows, takes their hand, matches their pace. He steps to the rhythm of every war he survived, and he smiles because running is over, hiding is over. He has become the thing he once feared, and it feels like flight. Why does he seem so fearsome? Because he returned not as the ruined man they left, but as something harder, darker, inevitable. He has come to reclaim what was stolen, to collect the debts paid in deceit. This is the end for those who left him underground, who assumed he would rot. They ought to surrender now. He is one, they think, how can he stand? They don't understand. He has changed. The fear should be theirs. They buried me in quiet. No hands reached down. No names were called. Only cold. Only empty air. Only the pressure of each betrayal pressing like a stone. They didn't merely abandon me. They lowered the lid. They expected silence. I remember the kind of hurt that never softens, that sinks into bone. It made a home inside me. I became the ruin they hoped for. They bet on my breaking, on me dusting away like I never existed. I did not break. I burned. I tore myself from the dirt, clawed through the wreckage, pulled the pieces of who I was out of the mud. My scars shout what my voice cannot. My body keeps every tally, every gasp for help unanswered, every empty promise. They thought they were done. They were wrong. I rebuilt from ash, reshaped every snapped limb, welded my wounds into a shield. The darkness they left me, and turned into shelter, then into weapon. I am no longer their victim. I am the consequence they never calculated. I walk without flinching. The burden they placed on me propels me forward. Every whispered slander, each act of cruelty, every time they left me to drown, it all feeds me. It sharpens my edges. It proves I am beyond their designs. I am not fragile. I am not erased. I am the echo of the terror they birthed. They wanted me gone, invisible, irrelevant. Instead I remain. I refuse silence. I refuse to be overlooked. I will not be removed from the story. I do not pardon. I do not forget. I rise. I claim what is mine. I become every fear they planted, every nightmare they deserve. The past no longer binds me. It fuels me now. Pain does not lessen me. It fortifies my core. The void they left behind is mine to own. I will never return there. Each footstep marks what they said I couldn't. Each inhale proves their cruelty failed to finish me. I am beyond mere survival. I grow, transforming into a force they cannot reach. I recall every lesson midnight taught, how to stand when my limbs were crumbled, how to find sight when all went pitch, how to speak when my voice was shredded from yelling into emptiness. I discovered silence as an armory, and I craft with it flawlessly. They may have lit my spirit ablaze, yet I temper those fires into an unbreakable forge. My resolve is cast in iron, my aim honed to a keen edge. No hesitation remains, no more doubt lurks. I have climbed past their grasp, past their narrow and brittle notions of who I am. I am nothing like them, never was, which is why they tried to annihilate me. They glimpsed something they could not master, a truth that frightened them, even as they jeered and reduced it. They sensed that if I crawled back from the depths, I'd be unstoppable. Now I stand. I move with shadows trailing and embers in my veins. I do not stagger. I do not waver. They attempted to erase me, yet I burn brighter than ever. They wished me shattered, but I rebuilt into a form they could not grasp. There will be no pardon waiting on their side, no forgiveness for what they wrought. The obligation they hold is one that cannot possibly be settled. I will ensure they recall it. I will ensure they feel the burden of their deeds, the pull of their choices. I will not grant leniency. Mercy suits the timid. For those who still trust in the good of monsters, I no longer belong. I have moved past their small cruelties, past their flimsy excuses. They birthed something beyond their ken, and now they must answer for it. I do not crave calm. I demand equity. I demand reckoning. I will arrive to deliver it, steady, unyielding. I am not who they abandoned. That old self has burned out, consumed by the blaze of betrayal. What endures is purer, tougher, more unbreakable. They shaped me, and now they will confront me. I vow I won't abandon you. I cannot abandon you. You are all I possess. You are everything I've ever wanted. I love you. Gaze at yourself. See where you stand. Solitary, yes, but unshattered. You chose a road most refused to travel, and because you did, contempt trails your steps. They labeled you proud, for trusting yourself, aloof for putting your purpose before those who drag you down, unyielding for never settling. They called you selfish, cold, every cruel name people use to name what they can't dominate, and yet you remain, standing, moving forward. You hear the barbs in quiet hours. You feel the solitude while they laugh in circles, playing happy. You watch their grins and doubt creeps in. Did you make the wrong move? Stop. Look deeper. Beneath those perfect smiles, what lies there? Masks, falsehoods. The ones who swore they cared are first to vanish when you fall. The ones who swore friendship turn away when you speak your truth. You've been here before. You've paid the price. You trusted hearts that only left you bleeding. You sacrificed for approval and were repaid with treachery. Ask yourself, was that love ever real? No. You learned the brutal lesson. Not all love is clean. Not every smile is honest. Not every hand extended pulls you up. Some hands are hooks, meant to drag you under, and now you stand steady, despite their loathing. Why? Because you finally saw the truth. Better to walk your calling, alone than wander with the crowd. Better to be despised for authenticity than adored for a lie. Better to be feared for your power than pitted for weakness. Count your scars, the fights you survived, the nights of silent tears, the dreams they mocked. Those scars are proof. Proof you endured. Proof you chose the harder way. Proof you'd rather pass through flame than bow to mediocrity. Hate isn't your foe. Love isn't the foe either. Comfort is the true enemy. The whisper telling you to quit, to compromise. Remember when you tried to fit in. Remember dimming your light so others could shine. Remember how hollow you felt pretending. You buried that version, good riddance. That old self was weak, living for applause, not purpose. That self craved being loved more than being real. Now look at who stands here, tall, not from their praise but from conviction. You move forward not for cheers, but because you have a cause. They hate you because you mirror their fears, the courage they lack, the dreams they sold, the strength they never built. Let them hate. Their hatred isn't yours to carry, it's their reflection, a mirror of insecurity and soft defeat. Look around who stayed, not the fair weather allies who left when you stopped performing, not those who loved you only when you were small and safe. The ones who remain see your worth, not for what you give, but for know who you are. Even if the world stands silent beside you, remember this: you are enough. Your purpose holds weight on its own. Stop chasing affection that demands the surrender of your soul. Stop begging for the nod of those who will never grasp your calling. They will never feel the blaze inside you because they simply do not carry one. Understand too that their noise comes from incapacity. They speak because you act where they never dared. Think of the pioneers who came before you, the dreamers who risked everything, who raised empires from nothing, who smashed ceilings and remade norms. They were hated, mocked, ostracized. Rejection met them at every turn. Still they pressed on. So will you. Let contempt sharpen you, rather than break you. Let it stoke your momentum. Every sneer affirms you are on the uncommon road. Every no proves you stand apart. Every setback is a lesson that hardens muscle and will. Pause, breathe, catch your reflection. What stares back? Someone pleading for love, or someone forged for war? Not a supplicant, but a warrior. Someone who chose meaning over applause, conviction over popularity. Love is not currency to buy acceptance. You do not need to be loved by everyone. You do not need the approval of people who would trade your integrity for comfort. The only love required is the one you hold for yourself and the force. Call it fate, God, or purpose that set you here. You were not placed on earth to be the world's darling. You were given gifts of strength, sight, and grit so you might rise each day and fight. So fight for your calling, for your dream, for the legacy you are carving. Let them misunderstand. Let them turn away, but never turn on yourself. You have traveled too far to surrender now. You have endured too much to let doubt claim you. Stand again. Move forward. Keep your head high and your heart steady. The road will be solitary, yes, but it is the path you were born to walk. One day, when you stand on that summit and the impossible hangs conquered at your feet, they will look up with new eyes. Those who once despised you will envy your resolve. Those who rejected you will covet your courage. By then it will not matter. You will be free of their judgments, free of their hatred, free to be exactly who you were meant to become. You were not sent here to be adored. You were sent here to be great. Let them doubt, let them hate. In the end, the only affirmation you require is your own. Rise, your work awaits.